You're wasting hours of your day, every single day, feeling busy instead of actually moving towards your goals. And it's all because of productive procrastination. So, what is productive procrastination? It's when you do things that feel productive, but in the end, you're just procrastinating towards something else. So that you're doing things that make you feel busy instead of actually moving to you towards your goals. Examples of this are like, checking emails all the time. So you'd be checking emails, you feel busy, you feel productive, you feel responsible. But checking emails doesn't make your fucking YouTube channel for you. It doesn't build the company for you. Another common way of productive procrastination is learning versus doing. So instead of actually taking action, doing the thing they need to do, starting the YouTube channel, starting the business, talking to that one person, etc., instead, people will just like keep learning. They'll go on YouTube, they'll search up, how do I do this? How do I start a business? And they'll watch hundreds and hundreds of hours worth of this content before even taking a single step. You'll always do more when you do action. Obviously, pair a little bit of learning with it. Learn a bit, learn the essentials, learn what you need. But the action is like the main thing. You'll learn the most from doing stuff, making mistakes, but then trying it again, as opposed to just binge watching learning content. And I just want to say that being busy is not the same as being productive. I got this concept from not only deep work, also this book called The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. These are two very good books. But a lot of people want to feel busy. So this is why they check emails. This is why they like reprogram stuff. They organize things, right? But organizing things, restructuring things, building systems doesn't move you closer towards your goals. I think they're necessary. Like, yeah, every now and then you do want to check your email. Every now and then you do want to build systems for stuff you need. Being productive will move you closer to your goals. Being busy is just like doing something that's like not wasting time. So it's literally doing anything that's not like playing video games or fucking stroking your meat. The thing is, emails, calls, and these things, if they're not wildly important to your work, so it's not like your boss fucking like firing you or some shit. It's not that important. It's just like other people asking for help. Constantly checking your emails, constantly checking these things is just you being busy as opposed to actually like doing the work that'll further you in your career or in your life. Being busy is basically just like doing anything that's not playing video games or fucking stroking your meat, right? Being busy is just like, that could be checking emails. And as much as I love reading, it could be reading. It could be like I said earlier, it could be learning. Just these things that don't actively move you towards your goals. They're good. Like, I'm not saying don't read. I'm not saying don't learn. They are good. But there will come a time when you just stop these things and actually perform action. And a lot of people don't do that. They just keep learning. They keep reading. They keep checking their emails or doing some dumb retarded shit instead of moving on because they're scared of moving on. So they stay in this like learning bubble where it's comfortable. Common methods of productive procrastination, I already mentioned checking emails is one of the biggest ones, but also like overly learning. So if you're on the self-improvement journey, right, this would be like you binge watch all of fucking Hamza's videos. That's what I did. So this is like something I'm very personal with, but like I binge watched all of Hamza's self-improvement videos. And like, I like his videos. I don't know the new direction of channel I don't really like, but I liked his videos. But like a lot of them was regurgitation of knowledge he mentioned in previous ones. So there was like literally no reason for me to keep watching. So from like an educational standpoint, I didn't actually learn anything more from the videos he was teaching me. I just kept watching them because I was scared of actually starting this YouTube channel, of actually like trying to improve my social skills or implementing any other systems. Another example would be like tinkering with your tools or your settings or your apps or organizing stuff. So like constantly rescheduling your calendar, constantly trying to make your Notion, if you use Notion, make your Notion look nice, etc. Like tinkering with the settings, trying to find new apps. Like you move from Notion to to-do list to habits to just all these different apps because you're trying to find the most optimal one. These are all forms of productive procrastination. Because if you think about it, there's people who have been successful on Notion. There's people who have used Google Docs to be successful. There's people who use probably a fucking piece of paper and they never went online who have been successful, right? You clearly don't need to optimize these things. So optimizing is one of the biggest ones. I want to talk about is like Bloods will always say like it's not the right time to start. They'll be waiting for shit. They'll be saying like, oh, it's not the right time. There's this going on. Oh, I'll start when this happens, or I'll do this thing after this, or when I get this, etc., etc. The thing is, I don't know where I got this quote from, but there will never be a right time to start. So if you're one of those people who are like, oh, I don't want to do this, it's not the right time, it's this, there's never going to be a right time to start. You're going to keep pushing this. There's always going to be some new thing that's going to stop you from starting that shit. And the reason there's always going to be some new thing is not because it's since the reasons that you come up in your mind, they're not actual reasons. They're not actual like, what's the word? Fuck, I hate when I forget fucking words. Every single time I say what's the word, I forget, and I have to call myself a dumbass in post edit. But yeah, fuck it. I don't know the word, but basically like this fluff. Their reasons are basically just excuses because they don't want to do the hard action. They don't want to actually start the channel. They don't want to actually talk to a person, etc. They don't want to have that hard conversation with someone. It's all just fluff. They're just like waiting for the right time. The real danger of productive procrastination comes from the fact that like you don't know you're procrastinating, right? Like if you have work to do but you play video games all day, at least you can point to video games and say that was the problem. I lost willpower, I lost discipline, I couldn't do the work, and so I resorted to playing video games to make me feel better or something. Or if you like scroll, you fucking jerk your shit. Like any one of these things, you can point to them, you can be like, that is my problem. But the problem with productive procrastination is unless you find a video like this, you don't even know it's a problem, right? You feel like checking emails is productive. You feel like overlearning is productive. You'll constantly push things off because you'll say it's not the right time. So that's a real hidden danger of productive procrastination, is basically awareness. If you're not aware that this thing exists, you're going to keep doing it and keep doing it. And it's going to make you feel productive. You're going to feel like you're making progress towards your goals, but you're still at zero, right? Like you didn't actually move at all. And before we get on to some of like the tips and tricks and shit that you can actually do to prevent productive procrastination, I want to talk about the most dangerous form of productive procrastination, which is perfectionism. So perfectionism is 100% productive procrastination. There's this thing called the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule. You've probably heard of it. Part of it is like 80% of your results come from 20% of your like effort or your work. So the reason you don't want to be a perfectionist is because you're going to spend 20% of your time and you're going to get 80% of the results. But then you're going to spend the next 80% of your time just trying to top off this extra 20%. So you don't want to be a perfectionist. Once you do things or once you have things, just move on with them. And especially if things start to get easy, that's when you know you're starting to do perfectionism. You should just probably move on. Now, quick disclaimer, obviously some things need to be perfect. If it's really important, like you got a fucking essay due, you know what I'm saying? Don't like work on it for an hour and be like 80-20 rule. I'm just going to go fucking stroke my shit and play video games now. Like obviously no, like work on it a little more. If it's important, it needs to be that good. But once it's reached that standard you're looking for, you should probably drop it. One last thing I want to talk about in terms of perfectionism, there was like this study done in a university where this this photography like professor or some shit asked their students, so half the students were told to just submit as many photos as possible, take a bunch of photos and then select like the best one or some shit and then submit that as their like year-end project. The others and the students were told to like just get perfect photos like every single time. Just it needs to be one perfect photo. So you spend the whole like semester or some shit. I don't know the details, but you spend like 6 months or some shit finding one perfect photo. The other team was like you spend 6 months finding a bunch of photos and then from that you pick the best one. And out of every single one of them, like the guys who were perfectionists who were supposed to get one perfect photo, I think didn't win like at all. Like all the best photos came from the guys who took a lot. So this is just goes to show like perfectionism, again, not good for you. What you want is action, lots of mistakes, retry. And that's how you'll actually improve and move towards your goals. Okay, some of the fixes. Now, I just want to give a quick disclaimer. It's not easy to fix a lot of these productive procrastination things. Like, I think learning, like watching YouTube videos, that's pretty easy. You can just like stop watching them. You already know how to do that. You just take the action, right? But stuff like checking emails compulsively or having your notifications on your phone being very reachable, or like having like managing all your different like productivity or self-improvement apps like your Notion, your fucking to-do list, your habits, your sleep metrics, your fucking Fitbit, those are all my examples, right? Those are going to be a bit harder to give up, but the truth is you do kind of just have to stomach it. There's no beating around the bush. Like there's no like alternative methods. You do kind of just have to suck it up, use some discipline, willpower, delete those apps if you want, and use just one. I'd recommend just use Notion because Notion literally has everything for you. You can make a to-do list on Notion. You can make a habit tracker on Notion. You can take notes in Notion, etc., etc. Usually we procrastinate in avoidance to something. So because of this big task that's hard, it's difficult, we don't want to do it, we form other things to do around this big task that feel productive. They make us feel busy, except like we're just doing that because we don't want to do the main task. Another very good tip is to ask a friend, because friends will have an unbiased perspective. Remember I talked about earlier how you usually productively procrastinate to beat around the bush of this main task. But if you ask a friend, usually like they see through your fluff. They're like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just work on that thing. The example I'll give is I had a friend recently, and this guy's like basically kind of like a therapist to a lot of the friends in my like school, in like I guess my friend group, right? And this guy was talking to me about like, oh, how do I communicate better? How do I do this? How do I want to learn how to speak better and give better like therapy and shit, right? And then we talked about it for a while, but then I just told him like, well, what if you just went up to them and you were just like, hey, like what if you were just more direct? Because this guy's like not very direct. He was giving therapy by like just like listening to them and nodding their head and being like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. And I told him, I was like, okay, what if you just went up to this person and was just like, hey bro, what you've been doing recently, I don't think is very cool. Like you can't like do this or some shit. You need to actually like work on yourself. I just told him to be more direct, and he thought about it for a bit, and he was like, oh yeah, I don't know if I could do that. I could do, that sounds a little weird. But then, because I asked him to do this before, right? So I told him how to go last time, and he was like, oh yeah, it went well. And I was just like, so bro, why the fuck are you talking about some improve your social skills, improve your fucking therapy things, when you literally know what works? You know that having a direct conversation works and actually improves the lives of the people you're trying to therapy. And then he was just like, oh yeah, I guess. And then no, he didn't say that. He was like, yeah, I should do that. So this is just like one case in which asking a friend will really help, because your friend has like an unbiased perspective and to like point you in the right direction of the way you need to go. This is also why we got actionable steps in this video. So Hamza's got actionable steps, and I really like that concept because it's the concept of action over learning, right? So right after you've learned this concept, you've done these things, now then right after you learned it, it's the time to take action, so you don't just like binge watch another fucking video. That's why I include them in my videos as well. I think they're really helpful. So hopefully if you're like a subscriber of mine, you'll actually like be doing the actual steps, because that's how you actually implement the knowledge and the stuff that I taught you into like your life to actually improve yourself, to move forward in your goal. Okay, so the next section is going to be some questions you can use to identify if you're productively procrastinating. I got 2 of these, I think, from 4-Hour Workweek. So 4-Hour Workweek, Tim Ferriss, very good book, read it. The first one is, if you could only work 10 hours a week, what would you work on? Because if you cut out all the fluff, you can't work 80 hours. You have to work only 10 hours and you can't work anymore. You're going to work on the most essential stuff, the stuff that actually like improves you, right? So if you, by answering this question, you know what your most important task is that actually moves you forward towards your goal. So for me, it'd be like, if I could only work 10 hours a week, I'd probably work on YouTube, because this is the stuff that actually moves me towards my goals. And then I'd cut out all the other stuff, like probably more like less, I'd probably study less for school. I'd probably like learn less about like, or like read less. I just like work on YouTube in that 10 hours. Second question is to ask yourself is, would I still be doing this if I got this other thing done? So this other thing is like the big task. So another good example is like, would I still watch all these fucking like cold approach girls like type cringe type videos? How to cold approach girls, 10 fucking pickup lines that'll make her fall for you. Like, would you still watch this shit if you just went up to that girl you had a crush on in your class? Or boy, I don't know if I have any female viewers, but would you still watch all these dumbass cold approach videos if you went up to your crush in your class and just asked them out? Probably not, right? So you know, like the fucking 30 hours you spent watching this type of content was probably productive procrastination. You just didn't want to like do the really hard thing, which is like asking them out. So that's the end of the video on productive procrastination. Hopefully you learned everything you need to know, everything about identifying productive procrastination. So hopefully you'll be able to identify like the ways you productively procrastinate in your own life and eliminate them, so you can focus on the stuff that actually matters. If you like this video, you enjoyed the content, I would highly recommend liking and subscribing. I'll be posting like consistently, so and more content like this will be coming soon. But yeah, that's basically everything. Oh, I forgot actionable step, right? Okay, this video is actionable step. Right after this video, go and identify, like ask yourself the questions I said and go identify at least 2 ways you productively procrastinate right now, and then like set a goal to try and eliminate those ways. So this is very important. This whole video is based on like action over doing, right? So make sure you actually take this action and do this shit. But yeah, that's basically everything that I wanted to say. Yeah, that's fucking everything. Bro, I never know how to end these conclusions. Like, I always feel weird because I feel what I want to say is, I want to say like, that's basically everything, see ya. But if I say see ya, I feel like Penguin Zero, like most critical, because that's what he says. So I don't know, I'll think of a catchphrase later, I guess.